Okay, I want to play some sound from this bill that they're trying to pass in North Carolina to ban gay marriage. Here's some sound that'll get you talked on the other side.
AJ Janavel on the effort to overrule the Supreme Court and ban gay marriage in North Carolina. AJ.
Yes, Sharon. Essentially what this bill would do is make gay marriage in the state no longer valid. Now, sponsors of the bill told me earlier in the day that what they're essentially looking to do is bring North Carolina back to how it was in 2012 before the federal government intervened. But a lot of people I spoke to today tell me that this proposal has them scratching their heads.
House Bill 780, introduced Tuesday, would look to make gay marriage invalid in North Carolina. The bill states the U.S. Supreme Court overstepped its legal rights in 2015 when it ruled in favor of gay marriage. The bill even quotes the decree of God from the book of Genesis. And one of the sponsors of the bill, Representative Michael Speciale, told me off camera he's only looking to return North Carolina state law to what it was before the U.S. Supreme Court got involved.
Ideally, the people who make laws would be helping to make the situation around discrimination better instead of perpetuating it.
Ames Simmons with Equality NC tells me he thinks the bill is only meant to be symbolic.
There's no way in modern society that a law this rearguard would pass.
I spoke with Greg Wallace, a Campbell law professor. He tells me this bill faces an uphill legal battle as well.
While people legitimately can disagree with the Supreme Court's gay marriage decision, a state legislature cannot overrule the Supreme Court's interpretation of the federal Constitution.
Wallace says anytime federal law and state law conflict, federal law wins.
If this bill were to become law, it would be declared unconstitutional.
Now, several groups did respond to this bill's proposal today, including the governor, who said the bill is wrong and we need more LGBT protections, not fewer. Now, I also reached out to all of the sponsors of this bill to see if I could get any kind of official comment. However, I did not hear from any of them. I also reached out to the GOP as well as the NC Values Coalition for any sort of comment, but I did not hear back. And just to reiterate, all of the sponsors of this bill are Republican. Reporting live here in Raleigh, I'm AJ Janavel for CBS North Carolina.
Okay, Aphrodite, you've been covering the LGBT thing for a while now. Well, what do you make of this bill that they're trying to do, and do you think it'll come through? And overall,
well,
what do you think of the whole North Carolina?
Let me chime in to say, first of all, same-sex marriage has been ruled constitutional by the federal government. It is signed, sealed, and delivered. It is no longer an issue. This is not up to a state to decide anymore. And for this bill, which is known as the Uphold Historical Marriage Act bill, to say that the United States Supreme Court has overstepped its constitutional bounds is crazy, okay? It did not overstep its constitutional bounds. It is the United States Supreme Court, okay? And so a state can't supersede what the federal law of the land has determined. And it cannot invalidate same-sex marriages. And not only that, they want to reportedly include marriages that have already been officiated, both in and out of the state, despite the Supreme Court's ruling. So they want to go back in time and invalidate marriages that have already been officiated. I mean, this is ridiculous. And the sponsors of this bill, who say that the state's constitution voided same-sex marriage in 2012, well, guess what? The United States Supreme Court validated same-sex marriage, and now that cannot be changed in 2017. It will not be changed, and these people are grasping at straws, and frankly, I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, look, their bathroom bill that was repealed, where LGBTQ people had to revert to going back to using the bathroom, not to which they identified with, but to which they, physically, their body physically belonged, however you want to call it, that, this is half-baked now a half-baked attempt at somehow making more out of the bathroom bill. I mean, look, the governor said it. Governor Roy Cooper said it. This bill is wrong, that we need more LGBT protections, not fewer. And I'm quoting him. So, yeah, they were able to limit the LGBTQ protections that required transgender people to use the bathrooms corresponding to the sex on their birth certificate. So they did that. But guess what? It cost North Carolina, that bathroom bill, $3.6 billion in lost business. Okay?
Wow.
So, and there's already been a compromise law that's being considered. So to replace this bathroom so-called bathroom bill. So, I mean, you can't defy the Supreme Court's marriage ruling. Can't do it. And that maybe it's a big question to these particular politicians and representatives in North Carolina, all Republicans, by the way, that are sponsoring this bill. But I find it very, very unlikely that they will have any leg to stand on to go up against the Supreme Court ruling that has laid down the law of the land.
Yeah, and it just seems that North Carolina in particular has really, not been a fan favorite of LGBT.
Well, look, the House Speaker has said, by the way, that this North Carolina bill that's trying to ban same-sex marriage again will not be heard. So they introduced the legislation to outlaw same-sex marriage and defy that landmark Supreme Court ruling already. And so the Speaker, Paul Ryan, is saying it's dead on arrival, this bill. I'm sorry, not Paul Ryan. The House Speaker in North Carolina said this. So, I mean, even the House Speaker in North Carolina is saying this bill is going to be dead on arrival. I mean, it's drawing more negative attention to North Carolina for its transgender bathroom law that's already happened, for its being discriminatory towards same-sex marriage, for its calling on legislation that will never be valid or recognized. Why are they doing this? Because they're quoting the Bible, and whether or not because only a marriage between a man and a woman shall be valid or recognized according to the Bible. Well, you know what? You can twist and turn in the wind with regards to quoting the Bible when you're standing up against the Supreme Court of the United States. That is what we have in America, separation of church and state. Not everyone in America is a follower of the Bible, okay?
Right.
In the United States of America, we have laws, and those laws are dictated by our governmental agencies, the highest court being the Supreme Court. Remember, in Kentucky, a county clerk was jailed. Remember that, Jordan? She refused to comply with the court orders, and she refused to issue same-sex marriage license. She was jailed for
right?
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, the U.S. Supreme Court has held firm on this issue, and this House bill will not be heard, and it's just another moment to show that North Carolina is back in time when it comes to the LGBT community. Period. The end. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. And they will, by the way, lose more billions of dollars. Okay? I know that, by the way, this legislation already has prompted people like companies like PayPal and Deutsche Bank to abandon expansion plans. And the NBA is relocating their high-profile games. That's right. And the NCAA as well. So you know what? They are I mean, they are just shooting themselves in the foot. And by the way, the former governor of North Carolina who signed the bill initially was ousted from office after the election that was dominated by this whole thing. Okay, and then once he was ousted from office, he has started to agree with the LGBT rights groups. I mean, it's just, again, LGBT people deserve more protections, not fewer, and same-sex marriage should not be discriminated against. We do not live in that environment anymore. We are not going back in time. We're going forward in time. This is an issue that was decided.
Has come in the last, let's say, 25, 30 years.
Sorry?
How far do you think it's come a long way to the 80s, 90s?
Oh, my God. You know it. I mean, there's no question. When I wrote my book, All She Wanted, which I've now changed the title to All He Wanted, and I did that because I had my own moment of recognition that once Caitlyn Jenner came out and I realized that she was always a she, even though she lived as a he and was a Olympic medalist and all the rest, that person always believed and had the mentality and had the understanding of being a female without the female parts. I changed the book that I wrote that became the movie Boys Don't Cry from the title All She Wanted to All He Wanted, because Brandon, Tina, who was the subject of that book and movie, was always a he, struggling in a female body, and lived shortly as a he, but unfortunately was killed before he ever had a chance to have the sex change operation, before he ever had a chance to have hormonal therapy, and unfortunately was raped as a female and hence reported the rape as a female. So, it is a strange story in which I had to refer to Brandon as both a she and a he, but I realized at the end of the day, 20 years after I wrote the book, that person was always a he, and all he wanted was to be known as a he because that's what he believed he was from the moment he was born. And I hope people will go out and give that book a chance, because it's the only true crime book that actually tells the true story and the real story of the first transgender murder case that we know about that was chronicled in America. I mean, I know there were others, don't get me wrong, but none that I know of that have been chronicled.
Oh, sure. But is this the latest book?
Yeah. It's called All He Wanted, and it's available in paperback, on Amazon, and on also on Kindles, on Amazon for, on ebooks. Yeah.